Yeah. It works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. But no, I mean I wanted to say good morning. Haven't heard you guys on air for a bit. I had jumped in when that caller was talking about Emmanuel Rodriguez and then downplaying Nonito. Um, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like if you want to hype up Emmanuel Rodriguez, go ahead completely, you know? But you also don't have to step on other people because let's not forget that Emmanuel Rodriguez lost to Caballo, who Nonito knocked out with a body shot. So you can't come around and be like, oh well, Nonito this, Nonito that, Nonito's Emmanuel Rodriguez is this complete, complete guy, and he's the most powerful guy, and whatever, whatever, and not put into the timeline that with after the WBSS, he fought Rodriguez fought Caballo, and he lost to Caballo on a card on a unanimous decision, I believe, or I don't maybe it was a split. I don't remember. But Nonito took on Ubali, undefeated Olympian, and then Caballo, the guy that Emmanuel lost to, and knocked him out by body shot. So you can hype up this, oh, this 40-year-old and blah 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 past his prime, but Nonito knocked out the guy he couldn't. So just give credit to where it's due. I don't know why it's so like difficult for anyone to just say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that was a good win. You always want
So,
to step
Ray,
on people.
the reason this is happening is because I told Danny, I said, what's his biggest win? Meaning Inoue. And his
Hmm.
biggest win is obviously your husband. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so then one can assume this dude's a hype job. Like, a dude that doesn't know this division can assume maybe Inoue's a hype job. He beat someone that isn't in their prime. Regardless of how good Nonito's been doing, regardless if we want to believe he's the fucking Bernard Hopkins of his division, he's not in his prime.
Understood. Completely
So
agree.
so everybody got their panties in a bunch because I told the truth. Like, so someone called in to overpraise Emmanuel Rodriguez, and it's like, well, I didn't know he was an elite.
I mean, we talking about Emmanuel Rodriguez, and we talking about first ballot Hall of Famer who, like
Yeah.
Rachel mentioned, like it wasn't. He had a couple tune-ups. He lost to Inoue the first time. Right back goes into undefeated Frenchman Nordine Ubali. Then defends that title, gets the fourth round stoppage, and then right back into Inoue. Like Emmanuel did nothing to get himself back into the ring with Inoue. So it is
It
what it
just
is.
doesn't make sense, man. It's what I said. You can't call Emmanuel elite and a great win, because then what's Nonito then? If Emmanuel's a great win for Inoue, then Nonito is what? An exceptional? Like, I mean, it doesn't make sense. They're doing
Well,
whatever
and
they
that's it.
can to try and over glorify this Inoue guy. So I want to ask you, since this is your division, not only as your husband but as also as his handler, you know the people in and around. Why do you think Inoue never fought Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, Carlos Cuadras, Rungs Vial, Kit Kat? I mean, why didn't he offer Bam the fight? What's going on with him not fighting none of those recognizable names and skipping an entire division, in your opinion?
Well, I think we have to remember, okay, so we got to make sure that we understand that before the WBSS, Inoue wasn't hooked up with Top Rank at all, right? And that being said, Ohashi was the one that was controlling him. And so all of the fights that he was that they wanted to line up were really picked fights by Mr. Ohashi, and nothing to do with Top Rank. I feel like the one that he could have made is Chocolatito because he was under Tekken Promotions at the time and still currently. So, that being said, I don't believe that he wanted to really test himself against those guys that, have that veteran name. We have to understand also that, Inoue is used to a certain type of boxer, and when it comes to people that can move a lot more, um, he does have issues with it. He loves, back and forth movement, but when it comes to trying to break down a fighter to get them to throw, it's a totally different story. The first fight with Nonito and the Paul Butler fight. Like, how do that's why I'm pretty excited about the Fulton fight, because this type of fighter is not what he's used to. he's going to have to really have an intelligent game plan and not just power through everything and smash and bash. He's going to have to get Fulton to want to exchange. Now, of course, Fulton shouldn't exchange. He should just be picking him off and be slick about it, right? I just feel like they protected him correctly. Listen, this is not something new. This happens in Mexico. This happens in the Philippines. You get guys that have like beautiful freaking records. The guy wrong beside that, Jason Moloney fought. Come on, dude was 52-1, I think, Danny. If you're good at records, and that guy was 4 fights ago, or 3 fights before he fought Jason Moloney, fought a guy that was 0-1-0. So when they're overseas in certain countries, they do like to pad the records and to make it look good. And they're not going to put them up against good opposition or exceptional opposition that can disrupt that before they bring them into like really the world market, right? So if he had lost to Chocolatito, would he have gotten his chance in the WBSS? It's like this whole like, if he went through this door, what would have happened? Would he still be the Inoue, or would we have seen that he had 3 losses at 115, so he's not going to go into the 118 WBSS series?
That's crazy, Rachel. And then the guy before that guy that was 0-1-0 was a guy that was making his pro debut.
Sir. Come on.
The guy before, and these were all fights last year. That's funny.
Yep. And yet he was able to challenge that they sanctioned that Jason was going to fight him for the whatever the eliminator. Come on, that's BS. It literally is BS.
So, Rach, I want to have you obviously defend yourself. There's some people in the chat that's saying that you're a known Inoue hater.
I'm a hater now?
Of Inoue, specifically. Any reason why they would feel this way, or have you said something in the past, or is it just they're trying to correlate the fact that your husband fought him and it's that simple?
It's that simple. I mean, I
Okay.
think it's silly when people say that. I don't have any hate towards anyone. Of course, I was going to go up against him when it came to the gloves or anything that has to deal with Nonito and the fairness of the game. That's what it's going to be. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. But people tend to forget that we've known him since 2016, 2014, something like that. Inoue was actually taught the left hook by Nonito. So whatever narrative is in their head, this is just business and competition. That's all it is. Do I hate the guy? Do I not think he's going to do well in the 122? Yes, I think he has the power to do so. It's just the fact that for me, he hasn't fought someone like Fulton, so it's exciting to me. Do I think he completely freaking loses? No, I think it's you're looking at a 50-50 fight, 45-55, 60-40 at most. I think it's going to be an amazing fight. And so, I mean, I would love to go out there and go. It just depends on what's going on with our negotiations, if there's going to be any negotiations. But to ever say like for example, when Walters fought Lomachenko, they're like, oh, Rachel just hates Walters because, her husband lost him. No, I was pissed off because I wanted Walters to beat Lomachenko. Why? When he beats Lomachenko, that meant that a very an elite fighter beat my husband. It gives the credibility to the loss of who he lost to. So I always find it funny when people think that I root against the guy we lost to. No, I want them to freaking win because that makes it better for us.
No,
Definitely
and
understand.
and obviously it makes your one look even better because now they're improving, what they got going on. Like
Yes.
people don't understand for Floyd, Canelo's always gonna be his best win because that he just keeps on winning, keeps accomplishing. That just makes Floyd look even greater.
Exactly. Yeah. You want the guys that you fought to continue to be better, win or lose, because that shows to you, like, for example, let's just say Walters, Walters beat Lomachenko, and we're here, how many years from then, and they, they're talking about Hall of Fame, they're talking about who he can fight, and blah, 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 and he's pound for pound, top 10, et cetera, et cetera. Nonito's going to be tagged with that to know that, okay, Nonito lost to a great fighter because look where he is still today. So it's just funny to me. Like, I think a lot of boxing fans are emotional and they want to put that emotion onto us, but this is the business of boxing. No one really, I mean, at least for us, we don't dislike or hate anyone like that. Like, especially the people we've been in the ring with. Nonito's friends with everybody. I don't think there's one person that's standing right now that he is not friends with, good with, that wouldn't have a sit down dinner with Nonito.
So what is cooking on your guys' end? We've heard a lot of chatter. We were at the convention. What is the latest with Nonito?
My phone hasn't rang yet. The order came down on Sunday, I believe. It was emailed. I waited on yesterday. We were live yesterday, and I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. I don't know if Top Rank's offices are open. It's 10 o'clock. I don't know if they checked their email. Um, we've been, waiting patiently. And I know Richard's talking to Don Majeski. That would be his connect in to talk about the Jason Moloney fight. But I haven't really heard any movement as to that they really are, wanting to come and sit down with all the hoopla that happened at the WBC. You would think that with all that back and forth, as soon as that order came down, they would have been talking. But it's only Tuesday, so I'll give them that, barely 9 a.m. So, oh no, we're just waiting and seeing. Hopefully, it's not going to take till February 17th for them to make the decision if they want to fight us or not. But I will say that BS when they said that we were negotiating back in November, December, that was BS. Like, that's why we called it out. We're like, we never started negotiations. Don't make it sound like I'm going to run from the WBC, because we're not.
Well, hopefully something gets sorted soon. So if nothing comes from that, what would be, like, I guess, the alternative?
Well, we would have a purse bid February 17th. If Jason's still choosing to want to fight us. If not, then, I believe he's the number one in the WBO. Maybe that's the route he's looking for.
Okay. Well, hopefully.
Which, listen, I wouldn't fault him for that. Like, people ask me as a manager, what would you do? I was like, I'd stay clear away from Nonito. I was like, and at this point, if it's going to be a purse bid, 50-50, blah, 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 and I have the risk of losing a vacant title shot, why not go get a title, have Nonito grab his title, and then we'll meet later, and that money would be bigger. So for me as a manager, if I was Jason's manager, yeah, I completely get if they do that route. I don't knock it, because I if I was fighting Nonito, I would do the same damn thing.
Well, Rach, like I said, hopefully we hear something soon and things get resolved.
What up, YouTube family? Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content, or right here on our YouTube members.